Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second bonus Starseed mission support of the week. How exciting it is that we get together once again. And I'm so excited for our adventure today. I've scheduled the next 3 hours that we get to spend together, which is, I was writing notes about this class, and there's so much that we have to get through. And so I really hope that you get to stay for the whole thing. Of course, you'll get the recording here on YouTube. And so, as usual, I want to open up our space with just a little bit of sound healing so we can all land in our bodies and in the correct architecture and frequency to fully receive these things, in love and support. And so, yeah, I hope you have some water with you and a cozy blanket, and you're in for this adventure together here today. And let's just dive on in with some sound healing to open up our space. Take just a long, deep, steady breath into your body, into your lower belly. Welcome you, all of parts of you, back into this now moment, into your body. Feeling a lot of excitement in our group field today. So just allow yourself to be carried by these sound vibrations into this frequency of pure divine love. Bring all of your energy, all of your essence that you may have left in other places, doing things, taking care of others. Bring it all back now to you through your breath. Take a breath in. Exhaling, fully landing in your body here with your star family. We are opening this sacred space here together, connecting in with our beloved Mother, Father God, the living consciousness of original creation, connecting with our own highest source-connected aspects of self, and our angelic galactic team who operate purely in alliance with the living unity of original creation that is our Mother, Father, God. Breathing down into the earth, connecting with Aurora Earth, Ascended Earth, Pachamama, this living goddess that is giving birth, giving life to all. We connect in with the animal kingdoms, in the water, the land, and the sky, connecting in with the elementals, the plant kingdoms, uniting with all of life as one, as we bring all of these gifts of life into our field here in support of our collective highest timeline and our collective prayer for all of life on earth. Bringing in our ascended, vibrant ancestors, the medicine, the love, the teachings, the wisdom of each and every one of you. We send gratitude to you now for being here with us as we unite in this group field. And I give gratitude to every single one of you for saying yes to joining here today, as we are going to be diving into such deep and profound healing that is so pivotal in our human journey. And yet it is, difficult, and so much darkness and evil has plagued these areas of our life. And so you are a being of courage, of love, and I commend you for that. And I send gratitude to your heart for coming. And so just breathe and allow the sound vibrations to continue to build this love of our collective field. And we'll prepare the space for our journey today. Okay. All right, everybody, we're in for quite the journey today, so thank you so much for being here. Um, we're going to be talking about probably the most important thing that everyone should be thinking about, and we're going to approach it with just the most compassion and gentleness and love. And so, in this now moment, I invite you to just rub your hands together and place your hands on your heart and just connect in with like the deepest wellspring of love that you can muster up. And maybe you want to think about your children, you want to think about cute animals, or maybe the earth, or whatever it is that you love the most. And just fill yourself up with that love. And also open up your heart to the love that is permeating everything. The love of Mother, Father, God that is always holding us and supporting us. There is truly just only oceans, eternal, infinite oceans of love that is everywhere, that is literally always ready to come in like a tsunami in our life if we come into this stillness and this openness to be able to receive it. And truly, we will need all the love that we can muster up to go through this journey here today. And if you're here listening to this, it means that you probably have already, come into touch with some of this. These programs and implants and seals of our light body that we're going to talk about today, they keep us from, being our true selves. And because we end up being disconnected from our true self and this love that is our true essence, we go through so much turmoil and pain here in this world. So, just as a preface before we dive in, I just want you to know that in any moment during this conversation, you can come back to this heart of yours inside of your body, this wellspring of infinite love that you have access to at all times. And you can just breathe into that space and feel how that love will immediately begin to bring you back into stillness and strength and courage, so that I really encourage everyone to go through this entire webinar, because there's truly nothing that is too horrendous or too painful or too difficult for us to heal when we know how to fully receive the support that is here for us. So, we are coming into the Venus retrograde at the end of the week here. And every 200 and some odd days, Venus does this thing where it goes into retrograde. And during this retrograde, it basically disappears from our sight, and is this myth that the goddess or the divine feminine will go through this journey of moving down into the underworld. And in our human life, this is really about moving into the things that we hide in the bottom of our pant pockets, the pain and the things that we hold for our families, the things that we hold for our ancestors, all the things that are too difficult for us to confront with our consciousness. Because women and all people, human beings, we are psychic and intuitive and sensitive and empathic beings. And so, in order for us to fit into this world, we had to shut down some of these faculties. And when we do that, we begin to stuff everything that is not right, everything that doesn't fit in to that mainframe of the false matrix. We begin to stuff it down. And we come up with all these coping mechanisms to survive, essentially. And those coping mechanisms essentially is a process of disassociation. And so we begin to leave our body and pieces of our soul begins to fragment. And we, do our best to live a normal life while being, spiritually abused and trafficked on a soul level here on this planet. And so the Venus retrograde this year happens to be in Leo, and I happen to have Venus in Leo, so I feel I have a deep connection to this energy. Venus in Leo is this union energy, right? This hierogamic union between the divine feminine and the solar masculine, and is also about the exploration of the solar feminine mysteries. And so it's such a exciting time actually for Venus to be going into retrograde in Leo, because this is an opportunity for us to go into the underworld to retrieve all of the power that we have stuck and broken in our trauma, in our oppression, in our bloodline, all the things that, keep us from shining and being our most radiant and joyful self. And so this is a powerful time for the divine feminine to be working on the solar feminine mysteries, and also to be journeying into the deepest recesses of our unconscious, which is, always what gives our life, the biggest blessings, when we choose to fully face what is down there. And I feel like most people choose not to, just because, our human selves we're quite innocent. Nobody chooses not to heal their trauma, right? It's really, we don't feel like we have the support, or we feel like we don't have the tools. We don't know how to go in. We feel like it might take us over and we'll be broken and fragmented and overwhelmed by what's down there. But during this time, we are literally supported by the solar system, by the cosmos, by Divine Mother, Father, God. And so this is really such a beautiful time for us to journey in to these subjects. Um, I did not know this when I set up this course, but this Saturday is also going to be Mary Magdalene's feast day. And I was told by a beautiful sister of mine that 10 days leading up to July 22nd, which is her feast day, um, the energy of Mary Magdalene is so amplified in the planetary field. And of course, she is one of the great avatars who have embodied the solar feminine mysteries. And so I feel so supported by the earth and by the cosmos in opening up this medicine space. And truly, I've just been witnessing like miracle after miracle all coming in to support this group field, because it really has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the return of the original divine feminine goddess frequency. It has to do with the rectifying of wrongs and of the pain and the retrieval of the fragmentation. The earth is ready for this. The earth is preparing for really big grid changes over the next, until the end of 2024, when the dragon lines are coming online. And so it feels like at this time, we are really being called to come into our highest embodiment. And what is in the way of that is almost all encapsulated in our lower chakra, and for women in our womb, because the womb is the source of our greatest power, the source of our greatest wisdom and intuition as a woman. And so much has gone on in the removal and the forgetting and the banishing of this knowledge from humanity. And so, in order for us to give birth to this whole new world, and for women to truly step into our highest prayer, because, you know, men and women in our individual lives, as we're light workers and star seeds, we are always holding a prayer. We're always holding this dream, because we came in with this purpose, and this purpose is to hold space for heaven on earth. And so each and every one of us, we have this spark inside of our heart that is always praying for this timeline anchoring. And, up to this point on the planet, it's been enough to just have that dream. But more and more, it is so important for us to step into our full mission and to embody our true selves, so that we can be seen in our highest light. And in order to do that, we have to come fully inside of our bodies. We have to feel fully comfortable and renewed in our original template. And this supports us in taking our prayer to the next level. And I know that we all have this incredible destiny ahead of us. This is our soul's purpose and why we've been born onto this planet at this time. And so I'm just so honored and grateful. And I know that the planet and the universe and the cosmos and all of creation is conspiring to support you on that journey during this period of time. So before we dive in, I want to just create a little bit of safety by sharing just a little bit of my background, because I know that this is a very intimate process that we're going through, right? The healing of this most essential part of our being. And so we don't want to just like step into a healing container without feeling that safety and trust in the space that is being held. And so I just want to share, how I came into this work. I've been in this crazy training for the last 10 years now, and it really began with my own healing journey. I was sexually abused as a child when I was in boarding school in first grade. And then at 11 years old, I discovered pornography in my household computer. And then, that was like a form of, I feel, a form of sexual abuse that many of us don't, consider. But as a young person, when we are confronted with inappropriate sexuality or sexuality at all, it actually creates, brain damage and creates neurological, biological, and hormonal woundings on our body. And then, due to all of those things and various other traumas, when I was a teenager, I became ill with an eating disorder and deep depression. I actually tried to kill myself when I was in 11th grade. Um, and then I went through a phase where I was super promiscuous. And of course, again, it's like just from the bad education and the abuse trauma and different kinds of things. I went through a phase of that was also very damaging to my body. And then when I was in my early 20s, I was drugged and raped by two men. And, so I'm just sharing this with you because I feel like a lot of people say, oh, you haven't gone through these things. I've gone through so much trauma, I'm not going to be able to heal. And I want to let you know that is 180%. I don't know why I chose that number, but it's totally possible for you to not only fully heal, but experience like an even greater amplification of your true divine essence, because those things just only teach you that your true spirit is untarnishable. And there is a love in the universe that is so powerful that it can miraculously heal our bodies in such a beautiful way. Um, but it really took me a long time. So, at that point, I was like, I have to learn about sacred sexuality and I have to learn how to heal myself. And then in 2016, I had this beautiful medicine journey where this green goddess came to me and she had a box and she opened the box and she said, this is the scrolls of your family and you're holding this sacred womb wisdom and one day you'll share this with women all over the world. And of course, it took me, you know, many years until I really truly began to learn and understand what that really meant. And then I gave birth to my baby and then birthed her back into the spirit world and then birthed her back into this physical world. I recounted that story, which I say is my womb stargate initiation. What this did to my light body was just reconnected me to source in such a powerful way that allows me to hold a really big energy field. And again, it so is not about me. This is about how this energy is here to support you and the world. But throughout all of these initiations, of course, I'm just giving you the TED notes on this. There were times when I'm just like crying and weeping in the bathtub, feeling so much immense pain in my body, like I'm never going to be able to heal this. And feeling so humiliated in a way that this world has failed in raising me as this beautiful, innocent human being, and instead has, fed me all of this poison that left me confused and in despair and so in so much turmoil in this separation from true love. And throughout all of that, I've gained a lot of tools and skills and quantum abilities that, all of which are things that I've tried and practiced for the last 10 years. And this is my third womb healing container. Last year, we held 450 women, and it was so beautiful. And it's truly my just life purpose to hold this work and witness the miracles unfold because, the miracle is you. The power and the beauty and the magnificence is what is already inside of you. And I'm just, honored that I get to be a channel and a space where that true essence can really find the safety to fully emerge and to find the pathway to, release all the things that are in the way that maybe were previously too scary to do on your own. And so, um, yeah, the way that I do this work, I always prefer to build love, because when we learn how to be in our body and learn how to communicate with the body and learn how to fully be loved and receive love by healing our mother father woundings, um, this allows love to move through our body in such an immense way where the healing becomes miraculous. The healing becomes easy. You would think, oh, this is such a big monster. It's plagued my ancestors for thousands of years. Well, the power of God and the power of love is so much greater. And so we don't need to struggle. We don't need to, punish ourselves and throw ourselves onto the floor to force ourselves to heal. This is the way I like to work, is bringing in as much love as we can possibly embody. And so sending out that as a preface as we step into these discussions. And again, I'm just so grateful that you are here with me today. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to drink a sip of water and we're going to dive right in. Okay, so the overarching first theme that I want to bring in tonight is the idea of complex sexual trauma. This is a term that I came up with because so many people have been sexually abused by the world, and because they've never just had an encounter with another person, that they don't know that they have sexual trauma. And what I want to bring in as a foundation is that our sexuality is our connection to our body and the intelligence of our body. Our creation energy is what is giving this body life and is also what is giving the body intelligence. And so this is what is the truth about sexuality, is that it is our divine connection to creation itself. It is how creation is imbued inside of these beautiful bodies that are so sacred and so destined and designed and built, intended to be a home for divine consciousness. And each of you that are listening to this is a spark of God, is a spark of divine consciousness that is being housed inside of your body. Your body is this vessel. It is a temple. It is a house of divinity. And this is just the truth about our existence. And yet, that is not what we're being taught. That is not how we live our lives. That is not how most people relate to our bodies and sexuality. And so, already by that fact, this is a result of a societal construct that has purposefully blocked you from that understanding. And this is what I would call bio-spiritual abuse. It's abuse on a biological, spiritual level, and the abuse is enforcing a separation between you and your own divinity. So this is basically the greatest level and the most devastating trauma that each and every single human being is carrying and doesn't even know. And every other trauma, every other discord in our reality flows from that source, that core wounding of separation and that deception, right? Because we're even taught that, in order to feel divine, you have to work so hard, and you probably won't get there because it's only for ascended masters. It's only for people that are super spiritual. And that is part of the religious lie that, we're not inherently divine. We have to work really hard and we'll probably never get there. And there are so many constructs, medical, science, educational, media, every single facet of this false matrix reality is constructed to play part in that deception of severing you from this very innate truth that you are a divine spark of love and your body is a sacred vessel for that spark of God that is you. So the question is then, why has this been hidden from us, and why are we being programmed with all of these very fallen and degraded understandings? What they want is for us to think our bodies are ugly, our bodies are fat, our bodies are, uncomfortable to be in, our body is something that we have to get out of because, earth sucks. And this agenda goes so far nowadays, right? In our modern world, we see this, amplified a billion times. And it all comes down to this core deception, right? They're trying to block us from knowing that we are truly these divine beings. And so I want to talk about like our original template. So, how it's supposed to feel when we're alive. When I was 16 years old and so depressed, and I tried to kill myself and ended up in the psych ward, my 80-year-old psychologist dude prescribed me some pills, and they fed me frozen pizza and Oreo cake and Jello. Um, and that is when I realized that these people have no idea what they're doing. And then I was like, well, crap, if these professionals that are supposed to be the masters of healing are doing this, I guess I have two options. I can either just perish, or I can actually figure out what being alive really is, because I realized that up to that point in my life, there was no one in my life that was happy, like truly happy, truly living out their highest purpose and, saving penguins or, whatever, whatever their genius, whatever makes them come alive and be filled up with joy. I was seeing none of that. And so I made this promise to myself. I said, because the doctors were like, you got 2 weeks to live. You're going to die if you don't stop doing this to yourself. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to live, and I'm going to give myself another chance because I want to make something of my life. I would rather teach myself what being alive truly is. And from that point on, I made the universe my teacher, and I said, just show me what being alive is. Like, I just want to know what being alive feels like. And of course, when you send a prayer like that into the universe, it moves everything in your life. And I began to communicate with the earth and the stones and the rivers and the trees and the sky, and these galactic beings that felt like home began to communicate with me. And I was like, wait, nobody else is tapping into this. Like, am I just, crazy? But then it felt so good in my body. And every day I woke up with more aliveness. And eventually I realized that, our natural state of being is this joy for life, is this love for life, is this appreciation of beauty. And, from that beauty, we're so inspired. It just makes us want to create more love and more beauty. And it's this beautiful feedback loop, right? Where we're in this beautiful place. Everything is so inspiring. The animals are so cute. Just want to build them homes and feed them food and protect their home and all these things. And that is when I realized that that is not what we're being taught. And more than that, we're being taught that this state of being is only for enlightened people, that only people that climb the mountain and meditate 20 hours a day can one day perhaps come into enlightenment to experience this level of peace. I was just at the park this morning, and all the geese were just so chillin'. They loved it. They were swimming, and then they went onto the grass and they ate the grass, and they were all hanging out together. And I was like, those goose are pretty peaceful. I'm pretty sure they're living in samadhi right now. And so I learned that this is our natural state of being. And I look at my baby Kara, she's 15 months old, and she's so full of life and curiosity. She wants to feel every leaf and jump into every river and pool of water and just receive all that life has for us, right? And so there's the great lie. And this is all important because our vitality and how we feel in our body, this is all our sexuality. This is all the way that we experience that pulse of life through our body. And that is our vitality. That is our sexuality. And then when we, talk about intimacy, which a lot of people think that like sex is just intimacy with like another person, when it's literally just life moving through you all the time and how it moves through you and how you experience it in your body. But when you are in this space and you meet another and you come into union in that respect and reverence for all of life and you come together to continue to create beauty, that is the original template of our living creation. Okay. And so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that many of us are not waking up in the morning, jumping out of bed and saying, "Oh, hello, trees. Hello, world. I'm so grateful to be back. Let's have another great day here with the things that I want to do. And I'm going to do them all with such joy." Um, Most of us, are forced into this life that we're not inspired by. And we've endured so much trauma that life force isn't even flowing through our body anymore. So we might just be tired all the time. We might be trying or wanting to eat the wrong kind of food. We might just want to lie on the couch. And even if we were, going out and doing lively things, we might feel lost in our life purpose. And that's really not supposed to be the way, because when our soul, life force essence can flow freely through our body, we're so in tune with ourselves. There is no question of what we're here to do because you're just right there. It's you that's right there. And you are clear about what makes you happy and what doesn't interest you. When you see something and it sparks that life force, it arouses you into life, it's easy for you to know like what direction you should go in your life. And so the mere fact that sometimes we're lost and we have no idea who we are, that is a block in our life force energy and how our soul is able to flow and live and animate our body. Okay, so there are so many things that are out there that are designed to block our life force, starting with how we're being conceived. I mean, our parents were not educated in these kinds of ways. And so who knows how they were coming together. There's all a full spectrum of that experience, right? And through the conception is when the first geometry of our physical light body is formed, and then the entire pregnancy, so many mothers are not supported. There's stress and fear and all sorts of stuff, and that is coming in and already blocking that light body to form. And then of course the birth experience is like highly medicalized now and so traumatic for so many people. And then that goes into, after being born and the food that we're eating and the poisons that we're being fed and the things that we see on TV and how adults are acting around us and the things that are on the internet now. All of those things are piling and piling up on top of our light body and distorting the way that life force can flow through our body. And all of that is a societal level or a template level of biospiritual abuse, or simply put, sexual abuse, because it has to do with our essence, our life force energy, and how it moves and flows through our body and how we then get to experience life. These imprints impact every level of our life. Every issue that you feel is something that bogs you down, it is sourced from inside of your body. That's why they were programmed and inserted there, right? Things that plague women a lot are body dysmorphia, right? Judging the body, feeling not good enough, hating ourselves, feeling like we need to alter the way that we organically are to be better. And how is that even possible? Because we are already designed and made perfect to be these vessels of God's love, to be these sparks of creational genius, right? So now we're beginning to zoom out and just see how messed up this world is and how it really messed us up, to the fact that, to the point where we don't even have an inkling or don't even remember what it is to fully be alive. And so this is kind of a numbing shield that is around our consciousness, this disassociation where we cope with being half alive or partially alive, coping with this existence, with the rat race, with responsibilities, and all of those things continue to place this mud over our life force energy until, we get sick, and become diseased and become depressed, and then, feel like we didn't get to fully experience the fullness of life towards the end. And I just think that that is literally the greatest tragedy in the world. And it makes me tear up because really this all started for me when I looked around and saw how sad and unfulfilled and in pain people were. And I saw that in myself. And I thought I needed to find my way out of this so that I can, help people come back into the real reality, to the organic reality where we are meant to live in joy and ecstasy. And so I am really excited to report that I feel, after all of those things I described in the beginning of this call, I feel such a peace in my body. I have a telepathic connection with my body, and the body's voice is so quiet and so still, but so full of wisdom, and requires for us to have so much respect in our being and love for ourselves to fully click in and tune in to our own sacredness. And now I feel this joy, this liveliness, this vitality. And, I witness things in my life become better and better and better. My relationships with my husband, my household, my mother, my children, my business, my creations. Everything is impacted through my restoration of my body, which really the entire body I like to feel is this greater part of our womb, because the body is the matter, the mother that is holding us as we're having this physical experience. Okay. And so, yeah, knowing that there's this original state of being where we are so in tune and so joyful and so full of creative sparkle. And when we have a dream, we can just step right into that dream and make it happen. And it feels like ecstasy. It feels like joy. It doesn't feel like hardship and difficulty and confusion and lack and scarcity and fear, right? It feels like orgasmic to birth your true creation. And that is how it's meant to be experienced in our bodies. And you're meant to feel safe in your body. You are meant to feel joyful and in love with yourself in your body. You are meant to feel pleasure. And most importantly, you're meant to feel that everything is okay, that everything loves you, that everything is full of beauty. And we're meant to exist in that way. And that's really heaven on earth, isn't it? When we think about heaven on earth, we feel that in our body. It feels like we are in a place where it's safe to fully exist. And so that vibration is waiting to live inside of your body now. We don't need to wait for the hold on a second here. I'm trapped. We don't need to wait for the external reality to be a certain way to begin to cultivate that level of comfort and safety inside of our own body. And we do this by clearing out all of the things that have piled on top of it that we, have been speaking of. Okay, so the next question that we want to ask then is why? Why is the false matrix set up in this way to make us forget and to make us live in this fallen kind of state of being, this fragmentation, this trauma? And really the answer for that is that, our creation energy is being harvested by the system, and in the 3D, that's the form of money and money magic and how it controls everyone and makes people believe in this illusion of scarcity and fear, but that's just the 3D embodiment of this energy. Really multidimensionally, our life force energy is being harvested on this planet. And it's like the planetary energy, because we are all one creation. We're all part of the body of Mother Earth. Mother Earth's creation energy is being siphoned through human beings and through the transformation of that energy into human suffering. And so in order for us to break down that system, we step out of it. And we step out of it by breaking the prison bars. And the prison bars are our beliefs and our trauma and all of those things that have been placed on us to block our connection from ourself, which is also the connection with creation itself, with God. All of that separation is the prison bars. And so in order for us to get out of the prison, all we have to do is begin to come into union with ourself, with our body, with our soul. And then our soul is always in union with the fabric of creation, with God, with the eternal love that is permeating through everything. Okay, so now you're asking, how is this related to our sexuality? And, I think I've already explained this a little bit, right? Where our sex is our life force, is our body, is our soma, is how our soul animates our body. And so the sexual perversion, this is a negative alien technology that is designed to sever humanity from our true essence within ourself. And when that happens, then our energy is not connected into the fabric of organic creation. And then we are giving birth, we are co-creating this artificial matrix that is literally killing this planet, right? And what it's doing is harvesting the life force energy. And so we're here as light workers, starseeds, to put an end to all this insanity. And in order for us to do that, we have to come into our own highest creative power. And in order for us to do that, we have to move into deep, deep sexual healing, deep essential healing. Our essence is our true soul vibration, is our true sexual energy, our true sexual vitality and life force. And so, I'm getting chills as I'm saying that. So this is why this is like the deepest work. And I'm so happy that I have this opportunity to share with you in this extended form, because it's really hard to articulate these levels of perception and understanding in like 30-second reels or freaking Instagram posts. And it's like, I'm trying to keep up with the times, but some of these things really just require, a deep dive. And so thank you so much for giving me that opportunity to journey into these realms with you. Okay, so think about how people on this planet relate to sex, and it'll be the same way that people relate to life, right? Is sex sacred, or is it meaningless? Is it beautiful, or is it dirty? Is it full of love, or is it just for, taking advantage, or, getting physical something out of it? If we find that sex is meaningful, then it means that we find life itself meaningful as well. If we find sex meaningless, then it means that a part of us feels that like life is meaningless as well. And it's all interwoven and connected. And so our collective human consciousness, we were groomed into, this is essentially what I'll call a satanic society, because Satanism, it has a spectrum, and at the root of it is just this absolute disrespect and disregard for things that are sacred. And the most sacred thing is creation, is life. And so to groom a whole civilization of people to be atheist, to have this little regard, little reciprocity, little reverence for the sacredness of all things, this is a very watered down version of basically societally accepted, inversion. Because again, we are literally genetically bred to experience divinity. It's who we really are. It's what we are at our core essence. It's what we're made to be. It's what these bodies were built for, to be these homes for God's source. And so this is a level of collective sexual trauma and the deepest level of sexual wounding that we are experiencing. And I'm feeling a little bit of emotional energy here. So let's just take a moment here together and breathe. Connect to that love, that fountain of eternal love in your heart, where you are always one with creation, where you are always outside of the illusions of separation. And no matter how much pain we may have experienced, it can shift instantaneously when we open and allow that connection, almost like being underwater for so long, then coming up to the surface for a breath. And we breathe in that connection, that beauty, that majesty that is divinity, that is our true self, true soul essence. And we allow that to just breathe that down into our womb, into our sexual centers. Yeah, and then, send out that prayer and really feel how much humanity is suffering. A lot of people want to look away or pretend that 5D is here. And, I like to travel and I like to see the world. And maybe I'm just not as ascended or not as in a high vibration as these people, but I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, we got some work to do here. And I love it because the fact that all of these people will be touched by connection, like that is so precious. That is an experience that every single human being, like that's just waiting for them. And that's just like the most amazing and wonderful thing ever that I could possibly wish for. And so don't shy away from that. Know that you're the answer. Know that when you begin to experience and truly allow this vibration of God's miracles into your body, that you are now that beacon for that experience to be had. You are now a window of opportunity for those people to receive that moment, that spark where they come home to themselves and come home to the truth, to the organic living reality that is so divine and sacred. And just bringing in that love and enveloping our bodies, and breathe and know that you're safe to feel all of that here. We are together. We are family. We are held by the earth. And we can do this together. Okay, so yeah, just allow it to move. For some of you, this may be the first time that, this articulation is being spoken in this way, in this lucidity. And this is really why the false matrix targets our sexuality. You look around and you will see sexual perversion in every form, in every corner, right? I grew up with Britney Spears, and now there's Ariana Grande, and there is, OnlyFans, and, all sorts of crazy stuff that is out on the internet. And it is out to bend our light body into perversion and to keep our light body from being able to accrete true divine consciousness, which is who you truly are. And so in order for us to rise in vibration, we have to repair these pieces of ourself that are trapped or are deceived into being bent, right? And when our light body is bent, our light body is what is giving animation to our body. So our personality, how we talk, how we communicate, how we express ourselves, right? How we perceive our life and ourselves and other people and the world around us, it really informs everything. Our light body is informing everything. And so many people don't even know like how their true soul actually feels like, because our whole life we've been just acting as these characters that are severed from our true soul. Like when our Lightbody is growing as a child, if our soul is not what is coming to our body and we have this 3D personality that we have to express as, then it begins to create these malformations in our light body, right? And then we can't speak our truth. We can't, express ourselves as authentically as we'd like to. It can even change our voice. Ever notice, like, sometimes when we're really grounded, our voices sound a certain way, and then all of a sudden we're talking to a high school friend and we're, talking in a different way? So those kinds of field distortions are always happening in our body. And everything in the false matrix is trying to sever you from your true self. And this is why they're targeting the sexual centers so much, because this is literally the source of your life force essence, the source of your vitality, your sexual energy. And so when your sexual energy is malformed or distorted, then it becomes almost imperceptible, right? Like, you don't even really notice it, but in the grand scheme of things, you might wonder, like, why are you with the wrong guy who treats you poorly? Why, isn't your business taking off? Why have you not been able to write that book you've been thinking about for 3 years? Why, are you having these conflicts with your family members and with your children? And all of those things come to this, these basic distortions, particularly in our sexual centers that have been malformed by the false matrix that keeps us from being in our full presence. And then when we're not resourced and not fully present, and also acting from a place of distortion, then that karmic residue begins to form, and it pictures, paints, and colors everything in our life. Okay, so on the surface, it's just sexual distortion, but on a lower level, on a deeper level, it's actually soul level abuse. And that is a really deep, serious thing that I want to drive home, which I think I have been in this webinar so far, because, they are really good at making things look mundane and normal. They're really good at hiding in plain sight. And it's like, oh, I'll let my 12-year-old watch this music video. Like, it's on TV, so it must be okay, right? And humans were naturally trusting, and so we want to trust that everybody is kind and has good intentions. But this world is just full of booby traps. And so we are just groomed to accept it as normal. And on the surface, it's just like, oh, it's just a sexual distortion. Like, it's just a little bit of, sexual deviance or whatever. But like, on a deeper level, it's literally being severed from our true soul essence and from our connection to true creation. And that is the basic firmament of the false matrix, 3D soul prison. Okay, so that has been the why. Why is important that we do multidimensional sexual healing. And now we are going to dive into the what we will heal. And then we're going to talk about the how we heal. Okay, so I've already talked about the conception and pregnancy and birth, and that's really just the beginning of the circus, right? Because then we have the jabs, and in my quantum healing sessions, I have seen, on the very high levels, they're doing these very atrocious rituals, and it is programming, these cells, and cells are consciousness, DNA. And so there are viral programs of consciousness that are inserted into a lot of these that are given to children and teenagers, and then they actually will impact human consciousness, whether in amnesia or through being prone to anger, or even sexual distortion and sexual depravity and all sorts of different things. We don't realize like how many layers and levels of this attack is really there. And so, we're a young person and we're just being inundated by all of this. And then we, are a child, and who knows? I mean, I have spoken to a lot of people, and almost every single one of us, our innocence was taken at some point. And recently there's been a lot of talk about human trafficking, and we want to save the children. And, you know, we've all been sexually abused and had our innocence taken, you know, in different ages. And that has an implication on the rest of our life, right? And how we relate to life and ourselves and our life force and our creation and our relationships and all of those things. And so then from that place, and you know, this is so widespread. Like, I was just hanging out with some friends of mine, and they're beautiful people. I love them so much. And I was hanging out with them. They have like a 2-year-old. And one day they were hanging out, and the little 2-year-old boy handed Kara a car, like a toy car. And they were like, oh, haha, it's almost like they're a couple, or like some silly joke about, you know, that kind of thing. And it just made me feel like uncomfortable because, you know, in our world, we normalize like young children having crushes on boys, and like how much of that is inserted into them through Disney shows, right? Um, and then like little girls are like obsessed with boys or, you know, celebrities, and like there's all of this. It's basically a crush is sexual attraction, right? You have a mate to procreate, and so to insert these ideas prematurely, this is grooming. And we're seeing this on like a way amplified level in our society right now, but it's important to see just how we were part of that too, just on a lesser level. But you know, it still really affects us in our life. It still did its job of severing us from our core essence. So from that place, we come into teenagehood, and this is when we're supposed to be guided to become an adult and really learn about maturation, right? Emotional maturation. And in our world, there's no education about emotional and spiritual maturation, and they only talk about, you know, the age of sexual maturity. Well, there's no such thing as sexual maturity without emotional and spiritual maturity, right? And so now they're trying to like lower the age of consent and all these things, and it's just this pedophilic system really that has touched us all. And, you know, from there, we go into our rite of passage into adulthood. And for so many of us, that's pornography, right? For those of you that are in an older generation, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was, you know, movies or like romantic movies and whatnot. And seeing what being a man and being a woman is from the role models that we had as our mothers and fathers. And so that's not really great. We're missing that rite of passage where adulthood is supposed to be the maturation of our heart, the maturation of our nobility and our patience and our wisdom and all of the things that help us understand this responsibility of creation. And responsibility of creation is what quote unquote sexual maturity is. And it's not necessarily just the creation of babies, but the creation of a whole new life is like the most sacred task there is. Right? You know, you write a book and that book can do well or it can change lives. And, you know, books have a really powerful ability to shift things in a positive or a negative way. But you create a human being, and that human being is alive for like has a potential to experience so much in their life. It's like an entire lifetime that we're birthing. And so this is why we cultivate our emotional and spiritual maturity, so that we can have that responsibility of creation and have that reverence for creation. And then we get to experience creation. This is a gift that we've been imbued with by God to experience ourselves as creation. And so, you know, from there, people get into marriages on that broken platform, and then, you know, they are creating more slaves for the false matrix. And this has been a cycle that's been really difficult for a lot of us because a lot of mothers blame themselves, right? But you have to understand that the system has been grooming you for that this whole time. And so, you know, allow yourself to grieve, but this is like a corner of healing that we have to reach in order to be fully freed and cleared of that. And in order for us to fully heal these things, like they have to be brought to the surface. And I believe this is why I have this gift of oration, to be able to speak these things in this level of lucidity, but in with as much kindness and love as we can possibly hold in ever increasing capacities. So with marriage, we carry all the turmoil that our ancestors experienced, and the greater the turmoil, the greater the imprints in our body. And so for a lot of women, this is like ownership, especially for like I'm an Asian woman. I'm from China, and so China is a very different world than North America, but in a lot of ways they were like the same. I mean, there's different programs, but they all do like similar things. And in China is more like the opposite thing. People are super conservative, and it's more of like a shaming, like women don't own their own bodies. They, are kind of properties. And here it's more like the other side of the spectrum, like, oh, you can be free, but like that freedom is a trick, it's a trap, it's a deception. There is no such thing as casual sex, just as there's no such thing as a casual creation, right? There's no such thing as casually creating a whole new life. It's like every single life is so sacred and so profound and deserves to be held in that level of honor. And again, I just want to iterate that like it's none of our faults. Like this is what we've all endured, right? This is the soul level spiritual trafficking that we've all endured on this planet. And I'm only speaking this so that we can stop and break that cycle, right? So we can really teach our children in the right way, guide our children so that they can break out of the false matrix by creating in that responsible way. And this is the only way that we're going to get to heaven on earth, right? People want to bypass this healing part. And we can't, because it's in our body, it's in our DNA, it passes down through the bloodlines. And so until somebody comes up with the courage to really dive in and do this healing, it keeps going. And right now, there's so much support. Like I feel like I'm constantly being breathed through because I prayed for this healing and this medicine. And it's been beautiful to see how after 10 years of just following guidance and doing whatever it takes, that I'm finally at this place where I'm able to deliver this beautiful medicine. And I've been dreaming and praying for this for the past decade, and it's only now am I able to share this with you. But I just want to inspire you to truly go for it and truly believe in yourself, because you matter and you can make a difference. And it might require you to go the places that you previously didn't think you were powerful enough to do or didn't have the ability to do, but you can. And God is here and God is holding you. God is moving through your heart. And it's time for us to really look at these things so that we can fully heal. And it can happen really quick. It can happen miraculously. But we have to look at these things in order for them to be moved through so we can be the end of that false reality, the end of that timeline. And moving forward from our creations is that new world, right? That new generation, that new reality that we're here to midwife together. Okay, so here we're looking at the pain of womanhood. We had a sister circle, and I asked, the group, like, how many of you feel totally joyful about being a woman? And almost nobody raised their hand. And I can totally understand because of all the things that we've gone through, right? Like the control and the forced breeding. The forced breeding is like, what I described before, where we're unconsciously creating because we were miseducated and we had this broken foundation, and now we're giving birth to children and we're sending them to school and we're just sending them right into the false matrix. And so we're giving life to that false matrix and we're being forced to create it. And this is a level of biospiritual rape, essentially. So once again, I just want to breathe here. Breathe in forgiveness for yourself. there's no need to be ashamed because, you are a badass for being here right now. Like, by you being here and you committing to your healing, like, that is all is needed, right? Because you didn't know. And the system was designed to hide all of that from you, right? The system is designed to hinder the mother's intuition and to make her question herself and to make her hand away her power. Like, the system is designed to do that so that mothers can be groomed to, do those things. And it's devastating. It's devastating. It's such a big pain body for us to move through together. But, the only way that we can move through it is to feel it, right? To feel it on this level and to forgive ourselves and to know that we are the end of it. We are the end of this timeline where that pain is propagating, and we are closing our womb portals now. Our womb portals are no longer being lended to the co-creation of this false reality where humans are being farmed. And so every woman has the power and the responsibility to fully choose, and every man does too. I'm a woman, and so I don't feel comfortable with holding these kinds of medicine spaces for men. So, for any men watching this, I just want to let you know that you are an equal player in all of this. Like, you have the responsibility of co-creation as well. And when I speak to women, is just because I am a woman and I'm talking about this course for women. But we all, every single one of us that is courageous enough, we have to be the end of this, and we have to choose to close down all of the places in our body that is leaking, that is still giving energy. And we don't do it by ignoring it. Right? Some people say, oh, if you look at things and you're giving life to it. No, I say that they're trying to, like, look around the world, right? Nobody is looking at it and it's still going on. So that literally makes no logical sense. Okay? It's not seeing it that makes you not give birth to it. It's seeing it and then consciously not co-creating with it, right? And we do this by, sealing up the places of our life where we are still exchanging with energies that are not in integrity with who we really are. So watching TV shows that are brainwashing, listening to music that impacts our body in a certain way, eating food that is laced with certain energies, right? And then learning to really take care of our body and communicate with our body and no longer outsourcing that to, the medical system and things like that. So these are the ways that we can begin to seal up our body and start to build energy so that it can actually start to create in the organic. And it's a process. It takes some time. We have to take back our energy and then direct it in a different direction. It takes effort. And not looking at it and not being deliberate is not the way of a conscious creator. Okay, so next thing that we have is interdimensional and galactic trauma. This is like particularly for the Starseeds and the Grail Essenes and the Temple Sisters who have been, who feel like connected to the spiritual lineages of Temple Sisterhood, or like witches, who are really just magical women who are tuned in. But women that have this really deep connection to earth magic and organic creation magic, in all different galactic lineages, these women were being taken into genetic experimentations and, having our eggs taken and stolen, these kinds of things. And then this is all connected in with the implants and the inversions and the seals. So the implants and seals and inversions are probably like the deepest layer of this healing work that we can do. And this is why in the 9-week journey, we really don't get into it until the 5th week is when we start. Because what we want to do is build up, like for the first entire month, we are doing like emotional work and spiritual maturity work and making a strong and safe connection with our body, right? Because we have to feel safe in our body to do this work. we have to feel safe in our body to do this work, or our mind is going to create stories. And those stories are going to look like, oh, I'm getting psychically attacked. And oh, I've been victimized in this way. And then our mind will spiral into fear because there's not enough safety present in our body. And that's not really helpful, right? I see a lot of this in the spiritual community where people want to just dive into these deep stuff because it's cool, I guess, but people are not being held in container and not being shown how to truly find that safety in our body. And so then people are left, believing that every single thing is a psychic attack. And, I've gone through that myself, and then I realize that like every time I think I'm being psychically attacked is always a part of me that is resonating with the attack and that is afraid of the attack. And that the quickest way for me to just stop it in its tracks is just to bring myself back into my body, because I am freaking God. Not the totality of God, but God spark, a spark of creation. Like, I'm connected to this immaculate, immense force that loves me so much. How can I be attacked? I'm so protected by creation itself. And that's the level of safety that we want to build inside of our body. It takes us a whole month just to move through all the individual modules to do that. And then we can step in to do this deep work. And, I will guide you into these frequency fields in your body. You're going to be able to feel them. They feel like constriction. If you're getting like, menstrual pain, what is menstrual pain? A lot of that is these energies, right? And they're always there. But when we're menstruating, we are extra sensitive. And whatever we're hiding, whatever we can get away with, stuffing to the bottom of our womb and not, coping and numbing out and not feeling them, whatever we can get away with in our normal day-to-day life, we can't get away with it during our menstrual cycle. That is when our womb is purging and when we're most sensitive. And so whatever pain you feel when you're menstruating, that is always there. Okay, and this is how I've helped a lot of women clear menstrual pain completely, by actually no longer like demonizing it and just truly landing and feeling all of the agony and pain that's there and giving it space to actually heal and release. Okay. And this goes for, many disorders that we have in our womb. I mean, our body is so multidimensional. Our body is so multidimensional, and everything. I can probably do a webinar just on this, and I think I will. I feel really inspired because this is one of my favorite things. I mean, I literally am excited when I get sick. Like if I have like a sty or if I get mastitis, I'm like, wow, like my body is giving me this opportunity to heal. And every single time I spiral into the symptoms, I just get through this like incredible journey of healing of a past life or an interdimensional piece or a way that I can love and nourish myself better. And as soon as my body's messages are heard and I read the map, the symptoms go away. And of course, this is like an entirely different medical system, the body's own healing abilities. Can't make money off that, really, big pharma. But anyway, I just am amazed by this. Like, this is something that I'm just so excited by. And I just truly believe that every single person must know this because they're inside of a body. And their body is amazing like that too. And they're missing out on this awareness. And also there's so much fear with disease, right? We're like, oh my God, like whatever. So those energies can become cysts and different kinds of disorders in our womb as well. And we have also seen those cysts literally disappear through this container because those energies are being resolved. So for those of you that, didn't come into this consciousness and, had your organs removed, this is a level of medical trauma, right? Where the people that say that they're supposed to be the experts of healing on this planet have failed you and deceived you. And I'm not saying that every single instance is this, but a lot of instances, right? Like 70 to 80% of surgeries that are done, organs being removed, can probably have been avoided through natural means. And the way that we address this is in week 5, we literally learn how to use plasma to rebuild our etheric organs And when we realize that our body has this like beautiful original template and nothing can ever like degrade it or harm it or sever it in any way, that like whatever functions that organ had in our energy body, that template is still there, and we can actually build like a plasma ether organ in its place to support the rest of our body. We can open pathways into our other organs to support the tasks that it was important on that in that organ. And so yeah, that is another level all of this. Another is like birth control. I mean, oh, birth control is another thing that is so big and deep because it's basically, again, our awareness of our own ability to create and miscreate. And it's implanting this idea that we don't have sovereign choice over that. And there's so many different things that we can do with our body to act as contraception. But there are literal like energetic implants that go into the birth canal and into the cervix that control our creation. And many women, like I had an IUD for like a few months before my body totally rejected it. And I called the doctors and they said that it was like a 3 months wait to remove it. And my body was like so repulsed by this thing. It like started freaking out. And I had to Google if I can remove it myself. I'm not recommending this, but basically it said that you can remove it when you're menstruating. And my body was rejecting it so much that it literally pulled it out myself because it's a literal implant. And these blocks in the cervix and the birth canal, they block our organic creation from coming out. And so if you've been like having a project that you've been gestating and you've been trying to write this book and it's just not coming through, it's stuck in the birth canal. And the reason is that there's all of this energy that is controlling the womb energy and enforcing what you create, right? You can only create if it fits into the false matrix, if you co-create with the false matrix, if you go along with that world. And so in order for us to create in this organic reality, we have to actually reclaim our womb architecture. And this is when we'll have to get into like the overlays and the imprints. And a lot of women have never even been down into the womb because there's so much pain and confusion down there. Their consciousness has never landed fully inside the womb because as soon as you land in there, you'll start to feel control systems and ways that energy is being usurped and ways that energy is being harvested and controlled. And we just need to go patiently layer by layer through the layers so that we can fully liberate our soul and be free to create the reality that we choose. Okay, so those are some of the things that we must clear in and what are involved in complex sexual trauma, right? It is very complex because all of those layers are interwoven and interact with each other. And even though they sound multidimensional, for example, I posted both on Facebook and Instagram yesterday of the examples of the overlays, right? Like the Baphomet overlay, which is, it's just the name that I gave it. Like I gave it that name because that's what it looked like, but it's not even the name that's important, it's the overlay, right? And when we name things, I mean, it's just a random name that we give it. But the thing itself is essentially something that makes us forget how sacred everything is, essentially. And it's such a deceptive implant because to you, it might just feel normal, like it's normalized itself inside of your field. And that's how tricky it is. And it's just there in like almost everybody's wombs and blocking us from like truly connecting in with like our passion and our passion for life, our passion for the planet. Like this is why we are like asleep and we're not like fully in our mission is because this overlay is literally there and it's subtly radiating this energy that like nothing's that important, nothing is sacred, everything's normal, everything's mundane, and it's an inversion, right? Because everything is sacred and everything is majestic and everything is beautiful and everything deserves our full co-creation so much. And so this is how they're so sneaky, because we don't even think that they're there because this is how we're used to living life, right? Another example that we went through is like the birth canal. It's also like the curse of Eve, which is like that birth is painful. And this is inserted through biblical stories of like it was the woman's fault that we got kicked out of the garden. So all of the earth's suffering is the woman's fault. And that's why women are being punished by, you know, giving birth in pain. Like, it was literally the story. And I know that not all of us, you know, read the Bible, but like because it's a planetary overlay, every woman has this. It's just a subconscious, like almost every woman know the story. And even if they don't like subscribe to it, there's an energetic imprint that is in the earth's light body that is connected to our body that enforces this belief that creation is painful and that we're being punished and so we deserve it. And it's just such a twisted deception, a twisted implant. And sometimes this is why, you know, we create and we're like, oh, it's so hard to create my business. It's so hard to make money. It's so hard to whatever. Like all of birth is so full of pain and turmoil and difficulty. And, you know, a lot of that is sourced through the cervix where this overlay is located, the curse of Eve. And, you know, when we clear these implants, life force energy can flow freely through our body and we can once again come back into like the fountain of life, the fountain of joy, true creation, just birthing forth. And there's an infinite, eternal, everlasting abundance that is just like our true inheritance, the infinite creation that we have connection to that can flow freely through our bodies into this physical world, touching everything that we create. So this is how these implants can live imperceptibly in your body without you even knowing it, because the world has normalized that way of living. And so now we're going to talk about, you know, what can we do about all of this? So the body is an amazing healing technology. It has the powers of miraculous healing, especially because the body is mostly water, and water has miraculous healing capabilities. And so when we tune into the consciousness of water and plasma inside of our own body, we can heal on an exponentiated level, like so quickly. Okay, but in order to fully activate the water in our body, we have to meditate and consciously work with our body and consciously do the healing work layer by layer until we reach into these places. And for me personally, that has taken 10 years. I didn't have any help. There was nobody out there that was really talking about these things to the level that I was seeing them. And I've tried to join other women, like sexual healing containers, and it's always felt like, I mean, there was one that was like, oh, like use your sexual energy to manifest abundance. And like, I was like, didn't feel fully pure. And that was really important to me. And so I just followed my body and asked for guidance. And I'm really lucky that I have, you know, Qigong masters in my bloodline. And so Qigong and quantum healing is like literally in my blood. And they taught me so much. And so I just have this natural ability. Like I feel like self-healing and quantum healing like is my genius. That's just what I'm here to share. And even then, it took me 10 years of just being diligently healing myself, right? Meditating many hours a day. I used to do self-healing like 3 to 4 hours a day because it was my way out. Like I wanted to live. I wanted to help the world. I was in it, and no matter what it took, I was going to do it. And what else was I going to do with my time? Like nothing else fulfilled me like just being on my path. And so that's why I became obsessed with this path. And so it took me a long time to gather all of these medicines, all of these ways. And so, um, of course, your body can heal, and every single person can do this. And if you can't join my class, I hope that this course, this master class, is helping you tune into those layers and levels so that you can go into meditation and heal inside of your body. Because literally, like, the only thing you need to do is close your eyes, feel love, and allow that love to transform the pain. Like, there's literally, it's so easy, it's so simple. It's so simple, but it's not simple, right? It's simple and it sounds easy, but it's complicated in practice. And so, I'm going to be sharing a oracle healing ceremony at the second half or the end of this masterclass as my gift to all of us, to start to work and open up and heal these energies. And you can do this on your own. You can look at what I do, right? What are the energies I'm bringing in? How am I bringing it through the body? You can study these healings and do them on yourself. And this is the how. This is the medicine technology that I am bringing through to support our humanity in the healing of these complexities. Um, and Yeah, if you love life and if you're here to be a light worker, you can do this. I believe in you, and anyone can do this. It's just about truly choosing it, choosing life over death. And that's really it. Um, but I am offering this acceleration. That's really what this 9-week course is basically me condensing everything that I went through in the last 10 years and creating a step-by-step journey, bypassing all of the crying on the floor. You still might do a little of that, but probably not as much as I did. And fast track your healing. And fast tracking is something that we need because, so many of you don't have the next 10 years to, devote to healing yourself, even though, they say the best time to plant a garden was 10 years ago or last year, but the next best time is today. So, there's that too. And what I'm offering is this immaculately contained medicine journey that is basically a 9-week long medicine journey. I know that sounds insane, because most plant journeys or medicine journeys are like 6 hours, but this is just how I like to do things. I mean, like, go big or go home, right? Like, I feel that there is so much impetus for all light workers to come into like the greatest level of embodiment we possibly can, to like row for the wave and ride the wave into 2024 and just be on our mission. And so this is why I'm opening this 9-week container. Anyone can do this on their own. And what I'm offering is this experience of acceleration so that I can share all the medicines that I've gathered on my journey. And so that's really what you're paying for, is like my efforts that I've put in for the last 10 years, and also like this immaculate space, because it's different when you're held. When you're held, you can lean into that support and things can move faster. And this channel of God's love that is like open in my body. I mean, I didn't build it. Kara built it and God built it. I have nothing to do with it. I'm just following my guidance and, staying true to myself. And so I am just here for this work, for all of you. And so on that note, I I'm going to be putting in a lot of effort on this because it means so much to me. Like, your freedom and your joy and you living like comfortably and beautifully in your body, like, that's what I pray for. That's what I live for. And I just want to see you living in your highest medicine so that this planet can see a better day together. And so, yeah, we're gonna be spending like the entire day together on Saturdays. And I really chosen to do these full days, not because, I wanted to, because in the past years I've done like half days, but it was just really important because there's a lot, right? A lot of energy wants to come through. And the more time that we can spend together, the more time we can flow in this field, the deeper the medicine can go. And there's just so many codes that needed to come through. So we literally are doing like 3 webinars and 1 healing every Saturday. And every week is just another dose of the medicine that continues to go through the entire 9 weeks. And people experience, like, when you enter a medicine container of this like architecture, you're really working with like God's love. And so God's love is touching every facet of your life. And it's a container, so it's like strong alchemized medicine. So people start to experience things, right? They go through a healing and then their dad calls them, or they go through, or they meet somebody where they have a healing, or they find, you know, a lost treasure, where things starts to happen in their lives. And that's where the magic is, because people start to say like, oh, whatever subject we're talking about, it like plays out in their life. And that's the magic of a holographic living medicine container. And so for all of that, it's, I mean, I priced it at $1,200 this year because that's what it is. It's a 9 week medicine journey. And my family is holding this field and holding this prayer for like the entire duration, so that each and every one of you can receive such a deep cleansing and healing for your body, and for somebody to pray for you to come into your highest prayer. And really is out of honor. I mean, I sometimes get emails where people are like, so if these scrolls are for humanity, then like, why is this not free? And it's because in the old times, you know, if you came to my temple, you would probably clean the temple and cook the food for the community and be of service in different ways. There's always an energy exchange. And right now, that's not the situation. And so you can't come to my house and clean the floor or cook me food or support me in that way. And so in these times, we do this kind of energy exchange as a token of reverence and respect for the masters that have walked before. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about the ancestors, right? The ancestors that are bringing through this power and this medicine. I mean, I'm 29 years old, so this has nothing to do with me. I'm just here. I'm not, you know, taking ownership of any of this. I'm really just baffled and in awe that I'm even here right now witnessing all of this energy that is not me, but is being contained through this channel. And so there is a reverence and a respect in honoring what you're receiving, because you're receiving the support that will benefit the deepest part of your life. And that is what I'm praying for. Now, I know that there's some people that, you know, that's just like a non-affordable price point. And so I've always said in past containers to, you know, for those people that feel the call to join and they just know that they're meant to be there, that they can email me. And so that stands true for this container, but it's not going to be like any amount, because it's just a really deep and wild container. And what I've experienced in the past is that because we're working on like very root chakra, life force energy stuff, like if you don't have money to pay for food and you're worried about your housing situation, this is not the time to open up these cans of worms. Like, you want to have that basic sense of safety, because in order to even heal on these levels, you need to have safety in your body. And that's how it happened for me. Like when I was traveling around and living in my car and doing grid work and doing the broke grid worker thing, I didn't get into these like super deep levels of my sexual healing. And it wasn't until I moved into my RV and lived there for like 6 months before like I remembered my childhood sex abuse. And I asked my body why that was. And she said it's because I'm intelligent and I know when your body is going to be safe, so that you have that safety to actually process like what comes up. So just know that this is a intense medicine journey, right? You want to be resourced when you go into a medicine journey. And for that reason, I am offering partial scholarships. Those of you that need financial assistance to join this container, you can email me for a 55% off discount. It will work for all the payment plans. But I just, encourage you to really feel into your body if like you just feel like you want to do that or if you really need it. Because it's not about me and it's not about the space, it's just about our windows of receiving and giving. So when something is sacred, and I hope that you see me as sacred just as I see you as sacred, that we want to honor it with, the greatest integrity in our own heart. And so I welcome you to just feel into your body. And if you're meant to join and you have the ability to pay in full, just know that that is an alchemy in your body that you can choose. And then if you are needing financial assistance, I'm opening this possibility that, is open, but then that, is necessary because, yeah, we just want the group to feel nourished and supported, right? We want everyone to be resourced so that we can receive the medicine and not get too crazy because we weren't ready for this level of clearing because we don't have the earth underneath our feet. Okay. So yeah, I feel like my medicine ceremonies are really special. And yeah, I just really want to be fully honored in that way for offering this to you. Okay, so on that note, let me see. It is good timing. So we are going to take a brief break of 5 minutes, and you can go to the bathroom and get water. And then when we get back, we are going to dive into our oracle healing ceremony. I hope that you enjoyed this transmission and that it was enlightening and inspiring for you. I love to hear from you in the chat. I'm going to be here during this little break. So write to me, let me know how you're feeling. And then I will see you back in 5 minutes and we'll dive into our healing ceremony. I just see some questions in here. So yes, everything is going to be recorded. You'll have access to the recordings because the course is so super dense. You will likely have to go back, and these energies take a really long time to integrate, right? Because we're going to move through so many layers, but they'll affect your life. And so when we move through like a big medicine experience, like I just spent 5 weeks in the jungle, and a lot of you tell me that my energy is like different now. I mean, it takes time to integrate and be with the integrations. And so you will have the recordings forever. You can purchase the recordings at a later date. What I did forget to mention was that there is this like this greater planetary grid work component to it, which is like the planetary consciousness awakening or the dragon's awakening out of stasis. And so on the last week, the sisterhood, through all the incredible work that we're going to do and like the template activations that we're go on, we're literally going to be doing this planetary gridwork ceremony where we are bringing back the true original cosmic tree of life, specifically like the Holy Mother branch, because there were these big trees on the earth, and this divine mother energy has literally just been under this attack of erasure, as we notice in the world even now. But it's really not modern because it's been happening for so long. And I've seen these like ancient trees that used to be here, and they were these full embodiments of this like starlight, joy, cosmic mother, consciousness, energy. And they've literally been cut down and is a symbol of how the true cosmic mother consciousness has been like eradicated from the planet. And in the past, when I've tried to plant this tree, I would just like scream in agony because there was so much pain in the planetary womb, keeping this frequency from being able to be here on the planet. And this like true feminine essence, well, it's different in every woman because it's your authentic body's expression, your body's vibration of vitality. But at the core essence, it is this peace and joy and excitement and flowers and essence and beauty and delight, right? And senses. And this is how we are meant to be in our body. And so in order for us to replant this cosmic tree and return the Holy Mother's presence to the earth, to prepare the earth for the ceremonies that will happen next year, we must first fully come into this presence inside of our own body. And so knowing that this work literally is supporting the earth is like always something that supports me so much, to know that like I'm not just doing this for myself, but like literally all women and every one of you are going to get to experience that together. So then after that, we will be like, this is kind of like training and preparing the sisterhood for the grid work that we'll be doing later on this year and into 2024 as well. And there will be a gathering in person to perform this kind of alchemy as well. But it requires for our bodies and templates to be cleared and healed. And so this is like the greater story of how and why this container is coming through to be. Okay, so I hope you guys are ready now for our healing session. We haven't done this on the YouTube channel for a while, so I'm really excited. I just invite you to have a blanket and a glass of water around you in case you get thirsty or cold, which can happen when we move energy. And then just know that this is a living field that is constructed by like pure love, divine mother, father, God. And so it is interacting with your own body and your own higher self. So we're not technically in like a group field. So you are in your own field, but we are connected through plasma. And what that means is that, you know, you'll be safe in your own space. And yeah, it is being governed by your own higher self. So it's not going to do anything that is not in alignment with your highest. And it is going to work individually with you through the intelligence of plasma that is across the universe, that is connecting all things. So you can think about one thing in our workshop today that really activated something in you, that you really thought was something that was significant to you, or maybe there's a pain that you're feeling in your body or an emotion that you are going to move, and we're going to work with that one thing that is truly alive in you in this moment. So I'm going to drink some water and then we're going to get started. Nothing like fresh spring water. Okay, so I invite you to get comfortable and just breathe. Know that in this space you are safe to release any walls and guards of any constructs of a personality or self that you think you have to be, and you can just breathe and exhale and let it go. You can be free to be the essence of yourself, the spark of the divine joy that you are. It's safe now to fully emerge this precious essence that you are. And I welcome you into this medicine space. Let's dive in. Taking a nice, long, luscious breath into the body, expanding the belly as far as it can go. Exhaling, releasing all tension. Feel the air coming in your nostrils, filling up your diaphragm. Exhaling, ease into the body. Inhaling the love and joy of the air elementals nourishing your body. Exhaling in your infinite worthiness of nurturance as a perfect, beloved child of the divine. Feel your breath move into every cell, every strand of hair, every atom, every quark of your body. And as your awareness comes into the body awakens in this innocent remembrance, like you're seeing your old friend who loves you so much, awakening the intelligence of Soma. We're connecting in with Mother, Father, God, opening our medicine space, inviting in the angelic and galactic allies who work only in purest alignment with the one living intelligence of original creation, where there is only pure divine love that can permeate in this space. We're connecting in with each being's highest source-connected aspects of self, informing the physical body that it is so safe and held in this space, and we are opening this experience for the body's healing, and so we are informing the body to bring up to the surface its highest priority needs for healing surrounding the topic of our sexuality and our sexual organs and our creativity. And breathe. Allow the sound vibrations to carry and activate this living medicine field. Allowing your mind to settle into the womb of the body, the soft cave that is the flesh, that is the flower that is holding the beauty of your soul. The precious, soft, delicate flesh like a leaf or a flower, full of scintillating intelligence, divine life force. Now as you bring your awareness now down from your mind into your heart, relaxing the tension in your shoulders, opening out, spiraling open the heart space. receiving, sparking a sensation of love. Feel connection with Source, with the plasma field of water all around you, giving you life, giving you prana, giving you everything that you need in this now moment to thrive. Feel gratitude for that abundance as you receive that prana fully in your body, spiraling the heart open to meet and greet our highest self, the unified universal whole, and our childlike innocence that we are infinitely worthy of this love as we were created perfect. And allow that love to now wash down through the belly. And as we're moving through the belly, we are moving through a prayer. Beloved Mother, Father, God, I just pray for a frequency to be brought into this field now for the healing and clearing of all anti-self frequencies, all self-rejection, self-criticism, self-confusion, self-denial, self-judgment, judgment of the body, confusion, dismissal, criticism of the body, allowing for any anti-self, not self-loving thoughts and programs to be cleared from our belly on all layers and levels in all dimensions, throughout all fields of energies internestled throughout all dimensions. And breathe, allow the sound vibrations to move through into the deepest layers and levels of your belly. And breathe. In any field inside of our body where we are disconnected or are in forgetting of our inherent sacredness, any parts of ourself that has forgotten that we are always connected, allow the field of love to reach into the caverns of our being and open. Feeling the love and the embrace of our Holy Mother. Feeling the support of our Divine Father beneath our feet and in our spine. Allowing our body to open to the miracle power of this divine love that is permeating this field. And breathe and open. reverence with ourself, feeling this love for ourself as we prepare to drop our awareness now down into our womb space. And before we do this, remember that the womb is a living intelligence, and she has a consciousness, she has a living intelligence that is connected to the womb of all that is. And so with that reverence, as if you were approaching a great master or a beautiful teacher or a beautiful embodiment of divine, drop into the womb space with that reverence for your own source of creation. And just breathe. Okay, and just land here for a moment and look around. What does it look like? What do you feel? Does the energy feel spacious? Does it feel peaceful? Are there any energies or objects or sensations that are here? And you can just intentionally connect and communicate with the womb and send your intention that you are coming in for connection at this time. And if there's any messages or images or visions that the womb would like to share with you in this now moment, just be open and allow the womb to show you what is in the highest for you to see and process at this time. If there's any tension or discomfort or pain that's come up for you, just continue to breathe. Continue to drop and expand and relax the tension and allow the sound vibrations to move and caress and heal and cleanse the space. And all you have to do is breathe and relax. Open and expand. Now I want you to bring your awareness to the location of your cervix, which is directly below the belly button. And you want to trace below the belly button until you get to a soft spot in between your hip bones. Okay, and this is the innermost part of your vaginal canal. Kind of like where the outer part of your vaginal canal that meets the inside. And for any males that are listening to this, it would be your perineum, which is between your scrotum and your anus. It's right in the middle there. You'll feel an energy point, and that's where you want to focus your energy. So we're breathing into that still point in our belly, the source of our life force, the living stargate of creation, and our cervix is, the gatekeeper, the oracle. And so just feel into your cervix for a moment and feel if she feels tense or relaxed. Can you feel her? Okay, and as you attune your consciousness to that place, just allow any emotions or sensations to move and arise and meet it with compassion and love. guidance for any males that are listening to this, that if you feel guided, you can also connect in with the center of your heart. That the center of the man's heart is like the compass for the man, but it's also connected in with the penis that is like the key of the compass. And for women, that location would be in your cervix. And because I'm not a man, I'm being guided to share this alternative. Maybe that works better for you, so just try it out and see if you can feel into the center of that creational intelligence that is the gatekeeper of your soul's consciousness in your body. Okay, now for women, let's continue to breathe into that cervix area and begin to see the cervix as almost like a mouth that can breathe. Okay, now we're gonna start to move energy and almost like you are breathing through the cervix. And this might feel difficult when we first start, like it's clogged and no energy can move through. So this is a good thing to become aware of. So just slowly, don't try to force it. Literally just touch it with the most delicate, gentle frequency. Almost like you're petting a delicate flower petal, just gently awakening this part of the body, allowing it to breathe and thaw if it has been frozen. If it's frozen in pain and trauma, just allow it to gently dissolve and come back to life. And breathe, release. Breathe, release. Breathe, release. Breathe, release. Beloved Holy Mother, all the guardian mothers of this medicine container, all the guarding spirits of each being's sacred body, the body Deva, we are commanding for a complete clearing of any clamps, trauma, distortions, overlays, imprints over the cervix and over the heart gateway for men. We're commanding for a release of all locks and seals, all inorganic frequencies which are hindering the absolute freedom of each being's cervix at this time. We are calling on the helping support of the Divine Mother, the goddess Green Tara, Kuan Yin, and all of the other nameless, ascended, divine feminine healers, and all the highest selves of every participant to support in this process of clearing any outdated pain, fear, control grids, pain systems, curses, and all related networks of these energies, all energies which are hindering the perfect freedom of the cervix gateway. Let it be cleared completely and absolutely in highest accordance with every being's highest self, in all dimensions, in all time, space, in all timelines, in all layers and levels. And breathe. Allow the body to receive the medicine. Just breathe, relax, and release. Open, relax, release, and breathe. Allow the medicine to work through your body and open and breathe. Open and breathe. Oh. Okay, now we're gonna open up this healing energy through the uterus and the fallopian tubes and the ovaries, our palace of creation, fountain of life, full of this pristine, crystalline plasma water. We're activating the womb's inherent divine plasma water intelligence and requesting for this water to clear and cleanse all energies that are not in our highest be here, whether it be hooks and cords, other people's energies, ancestral energies, any and all frequencies not in our own highest to be here at this time, commanding it for to be cleared absolutely and completely from the womb space now. Open, clear, release. If there are any entities, frequencies of demonic consciousness, let it be cleared with such ease by the hands of God, the hands of Christ. You just kind of scoop them up like little bugs and usher them out of this reality back to source into whichever realm deems the best by our healing teams. Almost like they're little critters that we're just scooping up and taking away up and out of our body. They do not belong here. And breathe. And clear. And clear. And clear. Okay, now we might at this point encounter a fragmented or traumatized frequency of ourself. Any part of ourself that is frozen in sexual trauma. So we're just gonna envelop them with this emerald healing light. And slowly begin to bring them back into full health and vitality, back into union with your soul essence and your body. And breathe. visualize yourself curled up in fetal position, floating in the cosmos inside of a cosmic womb. And this warm and pleasant amniotic water is just keeping you floating in such a precious and loving embrace. And there is such stillness, just an infinite expanse of love and peace and safety. You can allow your body to taste this vibration of this cosmic embrace in the womb of Mother Creation, where your every need is fully and completely cared for, and the body is completely nourished by not only nutrients but the vibrations and frequencies of gentleness and beauty. And you can almost smell the sweetness of this amniotic water that you are floating in, receiving nourishment from, allowing your body to fully rest here. Allow yourself to be fully loved here. Take a deep and replenishing breath into the belly, into the body. Allow the energies to continue to work through and purify the grids, the fields. Feel the living intelligence of the womb that's been waiting for you this whole time. And it's always here for you to connect to find clarity, to find support, to find healing, to find expansion, to find peace, to find nourishment. Feel how it's possible for us to be fully landed and anchored in our body, in our power, in our grace. Sending deep bows of gratitude to all of the beautiful divine helping spirits that came through today. Sending so much gratitude to all the beings that are here together, every single one of you, the beauty, the medicine, the power, and the lineage that you bring. And gratitude for your courage to be here seeking out the deepest healing. And being willing to go into these places and bring love to where it's needed the most. I bow in deep honor to each and every one of you. And we give gratitude to our body and the earth for the sacred experience we get to have here, to get to sing and dance and paint and frolic and feel the ecstasy of creation pulsating through our body. And we are starting to decrease the voltage inside of this medicine container here, but the medicine will continue to work for each of you in divine accordance with your own highest selves. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings, beloved family. Thank you so much for journeying and holding ceremony with me here today. I'm so grateful that you were here. I love you all so much. I'm gonna just sit here for a second and allow the energies to move. And so if anyone has any questions that you have for me about the things that we experienced today. I invite you to post them. And for those of you that are listening to the recording and that are here, Healing the Womb 2023 begins this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And it will be Mary Magdalene's feast day. And so commencing the Venus in retrograde in Leo. And I would just be so honored to spend the next 9 weeks in this medicine container with you and receive all the miracles that are here for us as a collective, as a sisterhood. We will bring in some incredible frequencies for all of humanity and all of the earth. And when our wombs can be free, then the creation can be free. And this is truly the most immense magical work that we can do together. And I'm so immensely honored that I get to walk this journey with you. So White Swan has dropped the link in the comments, and it's also going to be down in the description. By the way, wombhealth.org is like a template override for the World Health Organization. So it's the Womb Health Organization, which is the real WHO, because we are actually caring for the health of creation. I just think that is hysterical. That's why I got that domain name. So, yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for receiving my medicine bundle. It's truly such beauty to share with each and every one of you. Hey, Trevor. Blessings to the brothers that were here today. I saw there was a question. There was a question about a container for brothers, and Shane and I have been talking about this, and we know that it's needed, so we're definitely have that on our roadmap. I personally don't feel comfortable running a container for males just because we go into like such deep light body work, and I'm not in a male body in this lifetime, so I just wouldn't have like certain awareness. It's like can't really have a woman telling men how to, be men. And just like it would be inappropriate for a man to hold this kind of in-depth container for women. And so, Sunflower says, did she speak upon the scholarships yet? So I did. I talked about the scholarships like right in the middle, right before I started the Oracle healing journey. And essentially, there's a possibility for a 55% discount scholarship. And, I just said that to use it to your highest discretion in highest honor and integrity with your soul and reverence for me as well. So yeah, I want to say hey to all the brothers that were here. Trevor, thank you for holding space and experiencing that. I mean, the body is the womb, whether you have a physical womb or not, like your body is its own oracle and is a womb. I just don't know the specifics, of like the rooms and the locations and the map. I'm not in that map. So I'm excited for you guys to explore that. And I'm so happy that you could be here anyway. Terry says, this has been very calming to my inner being, not a feeling that I'm particularly used to, and I want more of this. I'm so grateful. Isn't it precious? Like, this is the stillness of true creation, and everything is trying to take us away from that to siphon, the truth in us. So I'm so happy for you, Terry. That is like my dream come true for you, and I'm in gratitude for that. Okay, so I'm not seeing like too many questions pop in. I think some people are probably still vibing. So I'm just going to tune in and see if there's anything, any last words that want to come through here before we close our call for the day. Yeah. Yeah, like just that I encourage anyone that's like on the fence to join us. And for anyone that can't join us because it's not the right time, that's okay. Don't feel like you're missing out. Like everything is in divine right order and you will always receive the medicine that you need. And I'm just getting started on this planet. I am here to bring this joy and this peace back to the heart of every human being on earth. And I know that you are here for that too. And so we're going to be walking this path together for a long time. And so definitely don't feel like left out. A lot of these teachings are expanded upon. I'm just getting started on the intermediate level curriculum in the Earth Star Academy, and they will be expanded upon in there. I mean, I'm just here to build bioregenesis, healing chambers. That's my nerdy thing that I do. So I'm going to be here with you guys. I'll be here for a long time. And I feel pretty committed to not raising prices anymore. Even, you know, like I really feel like this overabundance template is something that is really important to me. So this is probably, I will have like different offerings in the future, but, for this, this is probably going to be what it's going to be. Somebody says, "Hi Z, do you know what the cramping I felt during your healing ceremony could be?" So, cramping is one of the easiest signs that there is tension in the body. So, when the body is tense, is holding something. So, usually that holding means that there is like pain or trauma underneath there. So, that pain sometimes is emotional pain, sometimes is spiritual pain from trauma. Sometimes is the body holding on to like an old timeline or old story, or sometimes it's like an implant. So, whatever it is, it means that your body is holding tension, right? That's what cramps really are. Um, and so you just have to ask your body like what it's holding, and that can open a whole can of worms. Oh, and thanks, Bruce Wayne. He wrote, Bruce Wayne dropped the email address down there for the scholarships is info@earthstar.academy. So Naomi says, Z, is it okay that I can also vividly feel that I'm in a male body and can have a very visual, ultra realistic, holographic male organs? So this is a great question. So I think that for a soul, because we've all been inside of male and female bodies, that is quite common. I mean, I've had experiences where I'm in the shower and I can viscerally feel what it feels like to have male sexual organs. Our souls have had so many lifetimes that we've all been male and female so many times. And this is the thing, and that's not acknowledged in the false matrix, is that we have a soul and our soul has journeyed so many lifetimes. And especially children that still feel like they're a different gender, most of the time, if we have experienced trauma in either genders, we'll either only want to be the opposite or we'll have to heal what's in the traumatized side. The other thing is that our brain literally receives trauma from like early exposure to sexuality, especially degraded sexuality. And so when this happens, our brain will actually flip into the opposite gender. So if you're a female person and you encounter like a sexual trauma, your brain will flip into the opposite gender. And this is the research of Dr. Hammer, who created German New Medicine. And I actually had this incredible experience with this. Like, you guys are feeling my energy being so soft because I had this incredible healing in the jungle where I found, this tomboy part of me that was frozen because when I was sexually abused, when I was like 6 or 7, I flipped into the boy side of my brain. And I mean, kids nowadays, right, they are always encountering inappropriate sexuality. So that's part of the reason why there's so much of this going on in the world. But when that part of me got unfrozen because I resolved the shock and resolved the trauma, I literally felt the entire right side of my body like relax. And that masculine energy that was like my tomboy energy just literally melted back into my body because it wasn't truly, fully authentic to my pure life force energy. Um, so we called that in our course the masculine shield. The masculine shield is essentially feminine trauma and becoming more masculine to cope, to get that protection, to shield ourselves, shield our essence from the world. And so, in order for our true feminine essence, our true life force essence to fully come out, like all of the coping mechanisms, whatever they are, they have to dissolve into the true protection, right? Our true protection is our shield of God, God's love for us, our Christed connection to creation itself. Um, and so, yeah, this is such a deep thing. Like I was watching, YouTube recommended me this video the other day. It was like how to be feminine, and it was this young lady who was like so in her masculine, like talking about like 10 ways to be feminine, and I was like, oh my golly goons, we're so confused, and that's okay. You know, it's gonna be a long road to healing this architecture, but we're gonna do this, and the more women who really dive into this work, right, the more we'll shift this energy and bring this true essence back to the planet. So Naomi says, I love my female body, but it's just sometimes I feel like we're so androgynous. Yeah, I mean, we are, aren't we? And we talk about this as well because there is a creational mastery that we can get to where we realize that, like, the more we lean into our feminine, the more our feminine can nourish our inner masculine, and the more productive and creative and able we are. And that's basically my secret sauce to like how I'm able to create so much, is that like I really have to like source so deeply from my feminine. And so this is a creational mastery that we get into, I think, in week 4 in our Scamos, because you know, this is like the part where we are here to be planetary creators, right? We're each here to create. Like, you want a healing center, you want to rescue children, you want to, you know, create all these beautiful things, and we need money, we need energy. And so in order to get energy, we need to generate, and that free energy device inside of our body is our inner feminine and masculine in union. But it's not that they neutralize each other. I feel like with androgynous, sometimes it's like we're just neutral and we're not either. And androgynous, I think that androgynous means like neither. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so really what we are hermaphroditic, like Hermes and Aphrodite's, like feminine and masculine. So we are feminine and masculine, and we're dancing between these frequencies, and we're not neutralized. Neutralized is like castrated. We don't have creative energy. We neutralize ourselves, right? And so the more that we lean into our feminine, the more there's an infinite source, wellspring of energy that we can source from. And the more that we nourish our inner masculine with that, the more dynamic and creative we can get. Okay. Yeah, it's so fun. This is such a fun conversation, and we have our Saturdays together, but we also have weekly Q&As on Wednesdays. And I think that's going to be its own party, because that's when really we get to interact, and you can bring me questions and things that you're going through, and we can do, you know, kind of hot seat coaching in that way. And we didn't have that in the last womb healing container. We had a Telegram group, and that was great. But yeah, I really wanted to do this live Q&A this year because the interaction is just so precious. Okay, are there any more questions? Thank you so much for bringing that discussion in, Naomi. I really appreciated that. Yeah, and I feel like this is why the divine feminine, like female, like we have this wellspring, right? And so this is why people and beings are after this power. They're after the power of the womb because we're so expansive and we can source that. It's easier for our feminine bodies to source that feminine infinite nourishment. Um, and so, when I see like a whole generation of women like masculated or in like hyper masculine, it's like, really sad because we're like just missing out on our creative potential and our happiness and our joy and our vitality. So Sunflower says, what time are the classes? They are 10 a.m. on Saturday. We go from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then there's a 2-hour break. And then we do from 3 to 5 for a ceremony. So Temple says, can you speak on physical transformations my container can bring about? So the best one is that people report they've had like lifelong debilitating menstrual pain and it's just totally gone. Like they've had to take, painkillers in the past and it's just totally gone. I've had people's cysts just like totally disappear. I've had people who were previously like trying to conceive a child for years and, they were able to bring through their baby. And, I'm not going to take like, credit for all of those things, but the container is definitely like a big part in supporting those energies because ultimately is like the people's own body that's doing it. The container is just acting as a catalyst for certain frequencies to be easier embodied. I would say that when women, like in myself, I'm definitely more in love with my body. I mean, now that I've had a child, like I have a little tummy, but like I love my tummy. Like I feel like it's like this soft pouch of like deliciousness. Like I just feel like in the past I've been programmed with like judging myself. I had an eating disorder, right? Back when I was 16, I was like, 90 pounds and anorexic and still feeling I was fat or whatever. But now I just fully love my body and I like have a better relationship with food, meaning that like I'm so aware of like how I'm eating most of the time and like how I'm eating it and what my body feels. And so I feel like being safe in our physical body is maybe like um one of the greatest gifts that we can have is just to feel comfortable and safe and acceptable and unconditionally lovable inside of our body and to fully love our body. That is really beautiful. So, how do you not get overwhelmed by the intensity of the abuse in our world? I feel pressured by it, and sometimes it feels so easy to dissociate from it or spiritual bypass, but I don't want to obsess or focus too much on the spiritual warfare. That is a great question, Katie. And the answer to that is I focus 80% on my healing and being in union with God. And then I think the being in union with God thing is probably the most important thing and the biggest part of my whole journey because then I know that it's not my human self and it's not my brain that is processing or holding space for all the fallen things. It's like I merge with God and it's God that's looking at it and it's God's infinite energy that's flowing through me and it's God's infinite love that's empowering me. And then there's nothing that is more powerful than that. There's nothing that is more scary than that. There's nothing that this love that God can't handle. And it's not me, it's everything. And I'm just the vessel. I'm just doing whatever I'm being asked to do. And then for on the human level, it's really doing ego training. So being compassionate with our human self on what our limits are, but then training our human to continually be able to take up more responsibility through emotional and spiritual maturity training. And these are all the sorts of things that we do in the Earthstar Academy, right? We are training our ego, we're training our human self to be able to withstand, not like, I feel like this is like what's missing in the disclosure community is like people are just like crazy and yelling and so scared and there's anxiety, and like when that happens we just got to remember that like all of this is God. Like 80% of our work is just allowing God to fully inhabit our body so that God can do the work. So I hope that answers your question. Hannah says, is there space to speak light language? I'm drawn to your course. Of course, I feel like a lot of people like speak light language as they're receiving the transmissions and as they're going through the healing. I feel like it's a very co-creative process in that way where like you're like people are singing, they're voicing, they're moving energy in their own body, and really like I'm just orating like certain things that are coming through to kind of like create structure and like contain the energy. Hannah says, I've been healing my womb, C-section, and a few traumas. Yeah, I would love to support you in that. I feel like if you speak light language, you will absolutely love the space. It's just different. I mean, those of you that have been part of it know that um, it's just like a beautiful space to be together in. If your current live YouTube transmission would be filtering in real time into people and kids around the 2000s era, what would you say? That is such a specific question. I think I would say everything that I just said in the beginning of this call. Like, I feel like I'm being trained to continually articulate these things in greater and greater clarity, but also simplicity, and like without any fear, right? So eventually, one day when I'm like 50 or something, I'll be able to communicate these things to anyone and they'll understand what I'm saying and also not be afraid and just like receive the medicine that's in it. So I'm definitely, this is like a specific specialty that I am working on mastering. Um, so yeah, you guys can let me know if I did a good job. And also what I can improve on. Like if there's anything I said that you didn't quite understand, or if it triggered like too strong of a response or a trigger in you, I would love to know that. Because I just want like the space to be so held when we have these discussions that there's no question of the love that's present. There's no question of our ability to overcome it in the present. There's not any like fear or, you know, mongering. It's just like, here's what's happened and here's how we can get through it together. So that's kind of something that I'm consciously working on. And I feel like even a few months ago, before going to the jungle, there was still this like, almost like this, it's kind of like a masculine, but it's also like kind of a little bit aggressive. It was very subtle, but I definitely felt it. And it was from that tomboy part of me that was frozen, right? But I'm definitely feeling like now there's so much more stillness and spaciousness. And I'm working on still, like, this is still the biggest thing in my own life is finding all of the spaces of gaps between me and God. Like all of the anytime I get like anxious or afraid or like panicked or anything, like I say, okay, this is a part of me that's severed from God or has fallen or disconnected from God. And then, you know, all day I'm just reconnecting myself again and again and again. And this is my practice. I think it's just union, is hieroskamos. First, we have union between our heart and all of creation. And then from that place, you know, we can do anything and nothing too, I guess. Um, but yeah, um, definitely a work in progress, right? Um, Grateful every time when something comes up and it brings us closer to God. Okay, family, I love you all so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here. If you've been here from the beginning for these whole 3 hours, you are a legend. And I'm excited to spend our Saturdays together for the next 9 weeks and just, bask in this energy. One of the greatest things that you'll experience is a deeper connection with yourself and with God from within your own heart. And I truly believe that, like, that is the most precious thing. And that is really what the world needs. We're here. I'm on a mission to bring the love of God back into the heart of humanity. And I know that you guys are here on this mission too. And I'm just so excited that we get to do this together. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your beautiful messages, and I will see you guys soon. Bye for now.